All right, though. We saved best, maybe worst for last. For I guess half of this podcast. I'm gonna leave it off to you though. I'm gonna let you take it away. Say what you need to say, as little or as much. The floor is yours though. I can only imagine how you're feeling.
So I've thought all day about how I was gonna start this or what I even want to say, and I still don't know because there's so many directions that I could take it, but I'll stick to the X's and O's to start and then see where it takes me. Let's take a look at the box score. Take a look at the box score for the Sixers. So the Sixers go down 2-0 against the Knicks. They lose two arguably winnable. This one was definitely winnable. Both of the games were winnable. Um, the Knicks, though, their toughness definitely shined. But let's take a look at the box score. Tobias Harris, 41 minutes, 10 points. Kyle Lowry, 34 minutes, 8 points. Kelly Oubre, 26 minutes, 4 points. He was in a bit of foul trouble. Batum, 33 minutes, 6 points. Paul Reed, the bench, 10 points. Knicks bench, wasn't too much this game, but you combine the. I'm not going to do the math right here, but if you combine the bench points from game one and game two, I bet New York would triple or quadruple the Sixers. When you have Embiid on one knee and one eye, which it seems one of his eyes is messed up.
Gotta be the painkillers. He's got to be high as shit.
That's actually a good deduction. I saw him get poked in game one very early. I don't know if it was who it was by, but then I kind of just attributed it to that. Since it might have been friendly fire even, but it was in the trenches getting the rebound. But that's a good deduction, actually. It could be that. Because the man can't even run out there. He can't even run out there. This is so tough for me because I really don't want this to be another what could have been. He's won an MVP, he's had all these great accolades and stuff, but is he sacrificing his career here, a couple of years of his career here, being out there, and then when you don't close it out with a W, that's just fucking demoralizing, man. It's just demoralizing. And then Maxey too, who's moments away from shitting his pants. He could have to run off to the locker room to go diarrhea at any moment. Pulls up with 35, 5 for 11 from deep. Hit what should have been the dagger if you play any sort of defense or grab any sort of rebound. So, 35 and 34, you had 104 points. You had two guys score 70. Somebody else has to do something, whether it's score the ball, whether it's rebound the ball, and I'm going to talk about rebounding because you can talk all you want about the fouls, and I hate them. And I hate that they weren't called. And I do think the Sixers were screwed a little bit. You even saw in the last 2-minute report, the NBA literally admitted, hey, we fucked up 4 times in under 30 seconds. Whoopsies. It's literally whoopsies. What are you going to do about it? Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change ref-wise or call-wise. I did think they got screwed. Maxey was definitely fouled. But rebound, and make your free throws. And they had a chance at the end. They did have a chance at the end. That play has worked at times this year. They use it at the end of the half. Maxey just quick cut to the cup, get a quick 2, end of quarters. It works. So I'm not too pressed about that. Hartenstein made a great play. But the fact that it even came down to that, the refs didn't help, but rebound and play defense. And I guess Maxey should have held on to the ball too. That's what I was thinking the whole time. Cupped fetus the ball. Into a fetal position, hug the ball. Call timeout. I think that could have swayed things a little bit. It was really just poor late game management by the Sixers in all counts. Even if Nurse was trying to call a timeout, which I do believe he was, if not initially, definitely, once Maxey was on the ground, you could argue if he had possession or not. Um, and then just like I see Tobias Harris, and I see Nick Batum, and I see Lowry even just standing when DiVincenzo missed that original shot, and then I see Hartenstein come in, swoop, and he bitched Tobias. He bitched Tobias. Got the offensive board, and that's DiVincenzo hit a big shot. He's a big time player. He hits big time shots. Um, I feel like I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here. I was gonna close it. I had a way I was gonna close it, but now it's escaping me. This just does a lot of things to my head, man. I'm just so sick of it. I'm just so sick of it. Um, I feel like I went on a tangent there, so you pick me up, and I'll go off
Yeah.
what you got to say.
No, you're all right. Man, that was brutal. Obviously, I was rooting for the Sixers last night. Not really too much of a big fan of the Knicks. Um, it was just brutal. So what I thought about as the game was going into kind of crunch time, I was baffled about how bad Jalen Brunson was. Um,
Yeah,
I want to give credit to Sixers though. Sixers have been playing the best defense you possibly can on Jalen Brunson, and I do think the speed of Maxey and like the intelligence of Lowry is really like helping with that. I can't
yeah.
hear vocals, but I
Kelly
know
too.
for a
Kelly did
fact
it too. Yeah,
Kyle Lowry is barking out stuff. But just like the amount of missed shots and just kind of like mishandles and all that, at least for me, like as it was getting not to the end, but as it was getting towards the end, I was like, man, Brunson is gonna sell the Knicks. He's gonna sell the Knicks here. Um, but really, the more like the biggest point of this game was what happened in the final. What was that? 30 seconds. So
yeah.
Brunson, after a couple misses, he gets one down. Sixers are up 5. He gets one down. Sixers up 2.
Bullshit bounce, by the way. His first three of the game,
Yeah.
absolutely bullshit bounce.
Yeah.
Like,
And then they get a steal, which I felt like could have been a foul by Josh Hart on the inbound there. But
it
as
was.
a
It
basketball
was.
fan, I was like, I like the let it play sort of thing. And then DiVincenzo, you just kind of mentioned it where he missed it. Hardenstein out bodies Toby. Well, by the way, sidebar, giving a bad rep to us Tobys out here, Tobias Harris.
Yeah, bro.
Um,
Come on.
but anyways, DiVincenzo hits his 3. Then now Sixers are up 1. My thoughts during that, I was baffled. I was completely baffled. Um, and when the whole so I want to get back to this play. So when I first saw it, I was like, all right, they're letting the boys play, like whatever. Um, and then they made the 3. Let me make sure I'm getting this all right here though.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a hell of a
yeah,
sequence, dude. Like, it was the worst sequence.
yeah. It was bad. So when I saw that, I was just like, oh wow, these refs are just letting these boys play right now, and I just let the game go on. Um, but I was very confused after what was it? They were down 1 at this point. The Sixers were. They had about 7 seconds left on the clock, or 13, or something like that. Um,
13, yeah, yeah.
and to me, you have a timeout, shot clock's off, you're down by 1. Maybe this is my clouded mind of Jimmy Butler, but like my mind goes to okay, either call a timeout or catch them off guard and like don't like I would settle for the last shot. Like don't give them
Yeah.
another opportunity. I guess like the Jimmy Butler way is like I'm either hitting this shot and we're winning and we're going home with a win, or I'm missing this shot and I'm living like you live with the result of whatever
Yeah.
you take. You don't want to give the other team the opportunity. So I know you mentioned that like sometimes like those plays worked, but I just think like Nick's hella effort. Hartenstein's really growing into this starting role with Randall
Yeah.
out. I just felt like, and how short Maxey is, a drive to the paint on a 7-footer with the game on the line. To me, I was baffled by that. I thought either Embiid was going to get it, even though he's on one leg, super gassed, on hella painkillers, whatever you name it. You give the ball to your best player, and you let him work. And the way the whistle has been for Embiid, maybe he drives, gets a little foul, and maybe it's like 1 or 2 seconds on the clock. You got Embiid free throws on there, and then you risk sort of like a full court, whatever buzzer beater there. But the drive, that just, I was like, damn. And then OG gets hurt, or not hurt, gets fouled, makes 2 of his free throws, who was kind of like a non-factor in that offensively in that
Yeah.
game. And then at the end too, like I felt like Maxey had the hot hand. I think even before what you called the ice shot, like I could just see it in like sort of like the body language. Like Maxey wanted that shot, but then he gave it to Embiid because I think like that's just like the game plan. Like crunch time, give it to Embiid. But then Embiid kind of gave it right back to him. He was wide open, bang, nothing but net. And I'm like, all right, like Maxey, like this is you now. Like the big shots, like you're feeling it, you're hot. Like this, it's on you. And what you mentioned, he had a stomach bug or something. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, it was sick. I just assumed it was like a stomach bug or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
But I just felt like as far as body language, how everything was going, I was like, this is Maxey's crunch time moment. And even like at the end, they had a chance there, but he was dribbling and then he just tossed it off to Embiid with like a second left, and Embiid just chucks up a prayer, and that ends the game. Um, I just, like you said, I think you summed it up. Just poor end of game management on the Sixers. Um, but to swing back to that big old play and go back when I can get to see replays, I get to see different angles, get to see all this different stuff. I can't defend Nick Nurse. There's a lot of camera. Like he looked like he came in for a timeout, then he pulled it away, and then he went again when Maxey was on the ground. I can't argue that Maxey had full control, but what I will say is his jersey got tugged. Brunson fouled the shit out of him. Hart fouled the shit out of him. But even then, if you're not going to call a foul there, you got to call a travel.
Travel, right? It's got to be one of
Like
the
it's
two.
got to be one, or you just can't play on from there. So that was another thing that I was confused by as well. I was like, all right, boys are going to let him play. You're going to let him play, though. It's got to be a foul or a travel. They didn't call either or. And then they end up getting a steal. But yeah, the Sixers got screwed, and I think what sucks the most is that the NBA releases that report because, like, what does that even do? Like, it doesn't do nothing. I
Just
think,
rubs
like,
it in.
yeah, I think really what needs to be done, I think these refs need to start getting fined like players do. Like, if
Yeah.
they make, like, in that specific call and that's like that specific moment, it's different if this happens in the first or second quarter. Obviously, we mentioned this with the Lakers too. Like, basketball games aren't decided by this play or that play; they're decided by 48 minutes of 4 quarters. Every single kind of play matters in a basketball game. But like in the first or second quarter, I can maybe kind of understand it, but you got 30 seconds left in this game. Obvious fouls when you look at it. I can only see it from that camera angle the TV shows me. I'm not a ref that's standing there right on the baseline watching it all. Like, you can obviously see if I was on the baseline, I could see he got fouled. I think Stephen A. Smith even admitted that Brunson fouled the shit out of him. And he was sitting there courtside. So, like, I don't get it. I think, like, and the reports are just, like, even more of a stab of a heart because it's like, oh, yeah, you see, look, the NBA admitted they did something wrong, but it still doesn't matter because the box score is 104, 101, and it's still a loss. It's still a 2-0 series thing.
Yeah.
But that was such a winnable game. I still think you guys are fine. You mentioned, the role players not doing well. They'll pick it up for sure. Not saying they'll go nuclear, but on the home court, that's really what the home court is for. It's for those role players.
Yeah.
They feel more comfortable there. I just I look at this series. Obviously, I think it's going to go down to the wire. The Knicks are not as good as everybody was saying that they are. And the Sixers, if Embiid was like 65%. I don't even know what percent he's out there on, dude. Like, cause
Probably about that.
like,
Yeah, it's
but like I'm saying, Embiid might be 40% of what he is.
yeah.
Like, and that's maybe being generous. If he was like 65, I think this would be like over and done with. Just because I just think like the Knicks are just like they're just willing their way to victories. There's no
Kind of,
like
yeah.
it's and I mean it's working for them. So like I can't really too much hate on it, but I don't know. I just feel so bad for the Sixers because you started it off both winnable games, but they couldn't get it done. So I feel for you. That one was a tough game.
Yeah, dude. And there have been a lot, a lot. Like I'm thinking just off the top of my like I'm going I'll go timeline here. Like even back to 2017, I think. Ben Simmons was on the team and JJ and back when we got Marco Bellinelli and Ersan Ilyasova at the trade deadline. Marco hit a three in the first round versus the Celtics, or it might have been the second. As time expired, sent the game to overtime, but it was initially called a three, but it was actually a two. They dropped I don't know if you remember this. They dropped the confetti, and then the game had to go overtime. And they ended up losing. Never forget that one. Obviously the freaking Kawhi shot, which that Brunson like bounce was a little bit reminiscent of that.
Yeah, dude.
I mean the Hawks, blowing a 25-point third quarter lead,
Passing up
and
a
then
layup.
Ben Simmons passing up a dunk on Trey Young in Game 7. The Heat, the Tobias over me,
Yep.
the spectacle,
Yep.
and then obviously last year Game 6, Embiid just doesn't want the ball. Sixers didn't want to win, in the Game 5 collapse at home, where Tatum just went nuclear, and then this a blown 5-point lead with less than 30 seconds left against a good team, but they're not. The Knicks are like the Knicks are just five or however many rotation guys. He plays like 8 or 9. Just five guys ready to literally go out and die. Like they're just ready. They'll go out and just die for Thibs. Like Sixers are
Yeah.
definitely more talented. I don't think anybody's disputing that. But the Knicks are just they're playing a different brand of basketball. Like it's like almost football out there, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost football. And I also think back to like remember when they almost lost to the Pistons
Yeah.
and DiVincenzo kind of like he went and like tackled. I think it was Thompson. I think it was Asar Thompson on like the sideline, and it was no call. They ended up winning that game. I was doing a little bit of math. I'm like, wait, they wouldn't have even been in this 2-seed scenario if they hadn't won that game. You can play the what if game, but just that brand has gotten them this far, and it's kind of remarkable in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
But like, they shouldn't have won that. It should be 1-1. It should be 1-1.
Should be 1-1, man.
But like, I don't think it's over. If they go up 3-0, it's over.
Yeah, I don't think it's over.
Embiid doesn't think it's over. I mean, obviously, what are you gonna say? Like, yeah, we're screwed. Like the Knicks are going to win. The refs hate us. Like, nah, he ain't gonna say that. He
Yeah,
doesn't think it's over. So
that
I gotta have faith.
that's tough. Like that post game interview with him in the locker room. Like as a reporter, like you got to talk to him, obviously, but like just seeing him like defeated. He said this was worse than the Kawhi shot. Like it's just tough. I feel so bad, for Embiid because
Dude.
it just seems like he just has the worst fucking luck when it comes to like basketball in the most meaningful sort of time. Like gets bad bounces, gets bad injuries, whatever. The basketball gods just don't like him for some reason. Um, but yeah, dude, I just
Yeah. You know. You know what? I think this was worse than the Kawhi shot. I really do.
yeah, because like the Kawhi shot is like it's the same thing how I feel about like Jamal Murray in a sense. I was talking about Anthony Davis. Like you couldn't defend it any better. It was just it's like good D but better O. Like that, it's just it was a better shot. It was a perfect green release. and it just got lucky bound. Like I feel like the Kawhi shot obviously very painful. As far as like what was at stake, like you're
Yeah,
moving
yeah,
on,
yeah.
and especially now, like in hindsight, because the Raptors won the title, that's also like
Yep.
a who knows? Like we probably would have won the title. Jimmy probably would have got a ring. Probably would have stayed in Philly. Like it would have changed like the course of like a lot of things. But
Basketball,
like,
yeah.
but like this one, it's just like it wasn't like you got screwed. I don't know. I didn't really say it, but you got screwed. Like
Yeah,
that,
dude.
it should have been foul calls. Should have sent Maxi to the line. Should have turned into a free throw battle. Again, you could still play the what if game because it still would have been like a 1 to 3 point sort of game by then. But if hypothetically, if Maxi gets the foul call, which he should have, gets free throws, he makes both of them 3 point game. Knicks maybe they make a three, but if they miss it, you would hope Embiid gets the rebound, then he's fouled, then that game's over. Um, like that
Yeah,
that's just like I think the toughest part about it is like you couldn't control like Kawhi. You did your best of what you could do. Like this one is you did everything you could, you got fouled, but the refs ain't gonna call it, and then all of a sudden like the Knicks just get it. Just get the stroke
yeah,
of the playoff magic luck.
yeah. Definitely much earlier, or I guess a round earlier. But yeah, in hindsight, like in hindsight, the Kawhi shot was worse. Like with everything
Yeah.
like that we know now, it's
But
worse.
but
But
in the moment,
for me,
this is worse.
this is worse. I literally laid on the floor for 5 minutes, like face down on the floor for 5 minutes. I was just like, what the fuck just happened? Like, we just lost that game. I sat on the couch, like hands in when Kawhi hit that shot for like 2 minutes. Just no, I ain't say nothing. My dad and my brother. I guess my reaction was a little bit worse this time. In the moment, this one's definitely worse. But
Yeah.
hopefully, there's a chance that I mean, it's not over. Like
It's
it's
not
really
over.
not.
No, it's
Like
not
it could
over.
light a fire in you. Like it could,
All it is, all it take, it's all one game, dude. Sixers, if they
Yeah,
come out strong game three, they win that game. Then it's momentum's back on the Sixers because they're like, oh, we just beat you. Now we got our own home court. Now we're gonna make this 2-2, and then we're gonna go back to the Garden, which we already played you guys twice good at the Garden. Um, and momentum, and they got the momentum on their side with back to back wins. So because then the pressure's on the Knicks, where it's like,
yeah,
all right, we gotta win this game or else Sixers can close it out. And like if it was second round Sixers, then you wouldn't have to worry about that closeout game in game six. But first round Sixers tend to close out series when they're supposed to on their home court. So
it's
um
true.
but yeah, that's neither here nor there. Any other sort of last thoughts you wanna throw out there?
Yeah, the last thing I'll say about this, you mentioned role players playing better at home than away. I mean, typically that's just
Yeah.
kind of how it goes. You have your outliers here and there, but the role players for the Sixers just they have not been good. And there's one guy in particular who I gave a lot of praise on here for his performance in the playing game. Buddy Hield. Dude, what the like he's been just almost to the point where you got to play campaign over him. He does not shoot the ball. He just won't shoot the ball. And you could argue he's not getting great looks, sure, but like this is a guy who can, and when you think about it, he was benched and traded in Indiana when like that's his style of play, like the fast, fast paced kick out like wide open three look. He was benched in Indiana like playing his ideal brand of basketball. And he comes to Philly, he was hitting shots for a while, but since Embiid's come back, he just has not had the green light, and it sucks. Like it went to from one of the better trade deadline acquisitions that Morey's had to I don't want to say one of the worst, but like kind of neutral.
Yeah.
So I'm just disappointed in Buddy. I just expected more from him.
I thought you were about to mention Batum there for a second. And I was like, please don't. I got PTSD still from that fucker.
Yeah, yeah. but Batum is Batum. Like he's just he can just he does a little bit of everything in there,
I'm
and
just
yeah, you
surprised of like
unfortunately got that.
I'm surprised just kind of watching more of this Knicks series. Like he's not a liability on defense.
Hmm.
He's not at
Yeah,
all. Which is like that's what you think, and I'm saying that more on like on the older side of things.
yeah, yeah,
Nah, he holds his own, dude. He holds his own. Um,
definitely.
but
Yeah, I think he's a great addition in there with Embiid, and able to get him some pick pop passes, which no one's been able to do. But he he's another guy who I brought up. Everybody was just kind of standing around like on that foul call, like when they expected a foul to be called, or like play the game, play the game. Like you can't expect a foul to be called. You can't expect like a time. You got to play the game.
play the
The
game.
Sixers lost because they didn't play the game. They didn't finish the game. They didn't grab the ball, not because of the refs. It sucks, but it wasn't because of the refs.
Yeah.
That's my closing
Yeah.
remark.
Yeah. No, I couldn't have said it better myself.